Welcome to episode 93 of Instant Expertise Marketing. You are in for a special treat. Based on the feedback from our recent 3-day webinar on AI productivity training for sales and marketing teams, Sherry and I have decided to finish the year with a mini series of real examples of how sales and marketing teams can use AI to double productivity to get work done faster, easier, and oftentimes better. I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of XPROMOS. I became an entrepreneur at 23 by starting a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Sherry Nomadi. Sherry and I not only use generative AI every single day, but we are continuing to urge all knowledge workers to prioritize upskilling on AI like your job depends on it, because it really does.
That is so true, Yvette. And I am Sherry Nomadi. Yvette and I have always approached business from opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet we do always, and I don't use that word often, come to the same conclusions on how to help our clients succeed. As Yvette said, we are shifting gears to end 2024 on a high note by sharing some real-life AI examples with you. We will be doing this through an 8-part mini-series that will conclude with our 100th episode. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, Sherry, I didn't know if we would get to 100 episodes ever, let alone this year. But first things first, let's explain how we've set up this mini-series so everybody kind of understands and can tune in for it.
Well, as we said, this is an 8-part mini-series, and we'll switch back and forth between sales and marketing. So parts 1, 3, 5, and 7 will focus on sales, and parts 2, 4, 6, and 8 will focus on marketing. In each episode, we will demonstrate how the standard AI models can help you double your productivity or more, whether you're a sales or a marketing executive on a frontline worker.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see our demos as we work through them on ChatGPT. That's our AI model of choice. It doesn't have to be on that, but that's what we use. So if you're listening, we promise we will do our best to be clear about what we're doing so you can still follow along.
Well, with that, let's get going.
All right.
And for those of you that are watching, you're in for a real treat.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All I've done is pull up ChatGPT. I'm actually starting with a GPT which is an automated tasking thing that you build that we created as a group. That is focused on understanding your role and what AI can do for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get that rolling. Get this out of the way for you. To get things going, since we're talking about our sales group, I am going to suggest that we are a sales leader at a B2B SaaS. And this GPT has just asked me, hey, I want to help you understand the impact of AI across your organization. Give me your job title or the title of the person that you want me to optimize for. And so now that I did that while we're talking, it is going to go ahead and create what we call an 8x8 role plan. And this idea of 8x8, it has 8 competencies across the top, kind of like the 8 key areas that you focus on. And under those 8 things, there's 8 deliverables that you most likely do in this role. The reason we do this is to demonstrate that, first of all, AI already knows your role. And what you do is different than what I do. It's different than what Sherry does. And so if you start, and this was our big aha as it relates to AI training, if you start with a roadmap of what your role is, it really gives you a place to start and start picking these things off one at a time to really get to those massive productivity gains. Because what we've seen is that AI productivity is really more of like, death by 1,000 cuts. It's not one thing that's going to make you wildly get back all of your time. It's everything. And you have to really get into that mindset. And Sherry, I know you love to talk about mindset and on AI for sure.
Absolutely.
So what I've done here is I've output this 8x8 role plan. The reason that we go with an 8x8 is based on Shohei Ohtani's mentor created something called the Karada method. And it's basically the idea that if you want to be the best ever at one thing, like say baseball, you need to identify the 8 areas that you need to be the best in. And that under each of those 8 areas, there's probably 8 things you need to do to be the best in that one area. And that's how we get to this 8x8. So, this is our Shohei MVP strategy here. For our B2B.
Hey, Beck, can you scroll down a little so
Yeah,
we
sure.
can see all of the 8,
Yeah,
just so they know there's really
Yes.
8.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah,
I was just going to read here off the top. So for our B2B sales leader, AI has suggested that the areas that the sales leaders probably focus on is lead generation and prospecting, pipeline management, client engagement, revenue forecasting, sales team coaching, competitive analysis, sales enablement, and strategic planning. Now, from the sales folks that I know, I would say that this is like probably pretty accurate, right? So AI has generated this, pretty much from scratch, going through this this GPT that we have created. And now we're going to ask it to show us what it can do with just one of these deliverables, because we have 64 now to choose from. Sherry, is there something on this list you would like me to?
I know. I was just looking over it again. How about
Okay, move a little bit.
ideal customer profiles, the ICP?
The ICPs. Okay.
Yeah, how about
I'm
that?
going to just grab this right here. And the AI has asked me in our little GPT, how would you like to know more about one thing? I'm just putting in ideal customer profile because that's one of our 64. And it's actually going to show me like 10 different ways that you can use ChatGPT just in terms of input output that you might not even know about. These are specifically everything from text to text, where you could analyze customer patterns and preferences to work on your ICP documents, text to image, where you can create persona cards or infographics, image to text, which is actually one of my favorites I use a lot, is, if you have a whiteboard of ideas or you have any sort of image, you can take a screenshot and upload it to your AI and ask it to extract the text and put it into a more structured format. It can also do text to code, which are things that I don't do a lot, I'll be honest. But it can also do text to file, where it's going to create a PDF for you or an Excel spreadsheet. Also, another thing that's definitely underutilized that we are using more and more and is great for sales teams is the voice to text and voice to voice options. This gives you the ability to take a recorded brainstorming session or customer interview as an example. AI will transcribe it for you and it will extract the actionable traits to help create your ICP. You heard that right. You can just upload your information. It will not only transcribe it for you, but it will analyze it as well. This is sort of next level amazing. It also helps do some great things with training with salespeople. Like you can do a voice, demo voice practicing, role play, sorry, for, with your team in different scenarios and things like that. So that's kind of amazing. It can go web to text. You can ask it for information on specific industries or customer benchmarks or whatever, and it will glean those insights from you and on and on. So that's all great, but that doesn't really help us specifically. So I'm going to ask it to get more specific about how it can help us. What it's doing right now, it's actually creating a step-by-step approach on how it can help us get to this deliverable, which is the ICP document. In this case, it's suggesting that step one is to describe the deliverable. And the best part about this, for those of you watching along, is you will see it actually is giving us the prompt to use to put back into it to get us the deliverable we want. And so it starts with describing the deliverable. The second step is gathering data. Now, in this case, it's also identified the places in these prompts where you would actually put in your information. So like the gather data says, analyze this input data. And then it says insert customer data or description of top customers and identify commonalities amongst the high value accounts. Focus on demographics, behavioral traits, and key pain points. Now, those of you who have gone through this in real life manually, this is pretty much the process to get to what you need for your ICP. It also goes then into defining the demographics, focusing on behavioral analysis, identifying pain points, which is of course critical. Then it goes into the value proposition. This is where you're going to want to focus on your own value prop and drop this in so that it understands how to tie that back to your ICP. And then it can generate an ICP template, right? And this is basically says combine the insights from the previous steps into a structured ideal customer profile document. Organize it with the following headings: demographics, behavioral traits, pain points, and value proposition. Then it talks about tailoring the ICP, to customize it for a specific target market or use case. This is where AI is really amazing already, in that it can personalize at scale, which was actually really the key focus of this 3-day webinar that we did this last week. Next, it's going to suggest that we finalize the document, revise it, make sure it's polished, professional, and ready for distribution, format it for readability and visual appeal. This is one thing that we're seeing AI, especially in the newer models, get better and better at, is not just like do that first draft, but it will go back, especially if you ask it to, and check its work, right? Check it at a higher level, see if it can make it better, if it can get tighter. You can ask it all along the way to make improvements in certain areas if you want to make it a little bit more this way or that way. And then our last step here says, based on the ICP created, suggest 3 actionable strategies for leveraging this profile in lead generation, outreach, and sales enablement. Okay, so as a sales leader, how do you think this is going to work for you, right? Like this is kind of walking you through pretty darn well what it looks like to create an ICP, at least draft something that's pretty impressive and or evaluate what you already have. What it's asking me to do is move on to the next step, which I said yes. And what this next step is that we've built in is an evaluation of how long it takes to do these tasks with and without AI. For this particular deliverable, which is the ICP deliverable, it says, hey, look, we need to do data analysis. We need to draft the document. We need to review the insights and refine it. We need to do some visual work and finalize and format. It's suggesting that this whole process might take maybe 22 hours. It says I can get this done with AI in 4 hours, saving me, a sales leader, 18 hours on this task alone. But wait, there's more. If you're paying attention from the beginning, you know that we started with an 8x8 role plan of 64 different deliverables that you as a sales leader have to do. We're asking the AI right now to tell us how much time it thinks it can save across the board, kind of going through this process that exactly what I just shared with you. It's suggesting that to do all those things across all 8 competencies, all 64 things, it's probably going to take you about 200 hours. It can do it in 50. It will save you 150 hours, which depending on how much you're making as a sales leader, for someone with a salary of 150 grand, that's going to save you 140,000 in annual productivity impact, because this is actually it's going to save you 93% time. So this is an example of what we wanted to show you of how you can ask AI to help you with not just one deliverable, but pretty much every deliverable. What we're seeing is that people are dabbling in AI. If you're using AI at all, you're dabbling in it. And you might have used it for one use case, but you really haven't gotten into the meat of it, and you're not necessarily using it with a structure that's getting you to where you need. We are here to say that if you're not getting a good answer from AI, it's not AI. It's a you problem, as we like to say. But
It's
really,
the user problem.
yeah, it's a user problem. And I do want to show one more thing, because oftentimes when we go through this, people are like, whoa, wait, what is it doing? It's going to save all this time. That's a lot. I don't quite get that. So when we do training, what we do is we start everybody with creating their own role plan. And doing so enables you to have a roadmap to go forward. And then you just sort of work against that, and you start checking things off the list. And like I said up front, everything you do is just sort of adding value and saving you time along the way. But let's say you don't know where to start. I just dropped in a question for it, which said, which of these deliverables, the 64, would give me the greatest value? And which ones could I do for a quick win? And I asked it to give me a list of the top 5 of each one, right? And this is just, again, I am just in plain old AI. This is a GPT, but it was built in 4.0. And we'll see what it comes up with. All right, it's suggesting that the top 5 deliverables for the greatest value, including the ICP, would be doing revenue projections, okay, because of the importance of accurate forecasting, doing your quarterly sales strategies, creating competitor battle cards, and focusing on go-to-market strategies. Now, for our quick wins, it's suggesting that we do an outreach template, because this is quickly will help standardize and optimize your customer outreach, to do lead scoring models, just to help focus your efforts on high-value prospects, creating a sales metrics dashboard so you can get visibility into your KPIs, doing a demo feedback summary. This is to quickly collect and analyze customer feedback to help refine your pitches and improve your product alignment, and also do performance review notes, right? And this would just help automate the creation of performance reports for your sales team. I know performance reports for you managers out there can be very time consuming. You can save so much time. I'm not suggesting that AI do everything for you. I'm suggesting that it pick up some of the heavy load and get that off your plate and really help that along. But if you're watching with this, you can see it did this nice little list for me. I would really like to have these in a table. So again, just to show off what this can do, I'm going to say, put these in a table and add the AI hours saved, right? That's all I've asked it to do. Actually, I spelled saved wrong because typing isn't really my strength.